There once lived a very rich man in the hilly regions of northeast India. He owned number of tea estates, which was famous for growing exceptional quality Assam tea. Now he was very well aware of the fact that he was the richest man in the region and never missed an opportunity to boast about his wealth. Now one fine day, while he was out moving around his tea estate, he saw one of his workers sitting under a tree about to begin his meal. The rich man noticed that the old man was sitting with his eyes closed with his food plate in front. He saw that his food consisted of some rice, a watery dal, a few grains of salt, and a chili. The rich landlord then asked his worker, "What are you doing with your eyes closed? Why aren't you eating?" To that the poor worker replied, "God has given me everything I need, and I am thankful for it. I just thank God for the food I have." The rich landlord then looking into his plate said, "If that is all I had to eat, I wouldn't feel like giving him thanks." The poor old man then added, "Sir, I don't know if I should tell you, but I had a dream last night and a voice told me that the richest man in the region will die tonight. I don't know what it means, but I thought I ought to tell you." The rich landlord snorted, "Dreams are nonsense," and walked away. But he could not forget the words of this old worker. He was obviously the richest man in the region, so he invited his doctor to his house that evening. He told the doctor what the worker had said, and after a thorough examination, the doctor told the wealthy landowner, "You are as strong and as healthy as a horse. There is no way you are going to die tonight." Nevertheless, for assurance, the doctor stayed with him that night and they played cards just to keep awake. The doctor left the next morning and the rich landlord apologized for becoming so nervous over an old man's dream. Now at about 8 o'clock in the morning, a messenger arrived at the wealthy landlord's door. The messenger explained that the old worker whom the landlord had met the previous night died in his sleep. The landlord stood like a statue of cold and lifeless stone for many minutes. He was not sure whether he should be happy or sad about it. The message he heard had touched his heart. He had tears in his eyes. For the first time ever, he understood the real meaning of rich or richness. Friends, for some reason the word rich and wealthy are often incorrectly used to describe having a lot of money. The first and the most obvious thing that comes to the mind that the more money you have, the richer you are. We tend to judge who is rich and who is poor on the basis of material possession. But the truth is, some people are so poor, all they have is money. We humans have a particularly strong and at times irrational obsession with possessions. Good health, fulfilling relationships, a sense of purpose, and ability to serve others are important parts of the definition of wealth. Most of us, however, do not look at wealth this way. We seem to be running mindlessly towards a singular objective of amassing as much as possible. The richest man is not he who has the most, but he who needs the least. Decades of psychological research has already disproven the idea that money can buy long-term happiness, with one study even suggesting that lottery winners ended up no more satisfied with their lives after a big win. Money contributes to happiness when it helps us to accomplish our basic needs. But research tells us that above a certain level, more money doesn't actually yield more happiness. I read once, in 1859, around 450 passengers on the Royal Charter returning from Australian gold mines to Liverpool drowned when the steam clipper was shipwrecked off the north coast of Wales. What makes this tragic loss of life remarkable among countless other maritime disasters was that those on board were weighed down by the gold in their money belts that they just wouldn't abandon so close to home. Sometimes, when I look at some of my friends and acquaintances, I feel a sense of sadness because they have become too defined by their wealth. They can't get off the treadmill of wealth creation, though they are aware that their happiness or quality of life have now flatlined or rather remained static. Bruce Hood, a professor of development psychology at the University of Bristol, in his book titled Possessed: Why We Want More Than We Need, states that most of us behave as if we are possessed by our possessions. He says we are trapped and addicted because we are more self-assured that we are successful if we can see our possessions. Not only do we signal to ourselves or to others through our possession, but our possessions also signal back to us who we are. Friends, then who is rich? I love this definition that says, he who rejoices in his possessions is truly rich. If you are obscenely rich but aren't happy, what good is your money? Contentment comes from having enough, not too little and not too much, but how much is enough? There is no simple answer. What's enough for you may not be enough for your best friend, but it's all about seeking balance. A balanced life is a fulfilling life. To find balance, you have to figure out how much is enough for you. The point where you are content with what you have and can say this much but no more. Once you define enough, you gain a sense of freedom. You are no longer caught up in that rat race and you get time to pursue your passion. Typically, as our income increases, our lifestyles also grow with it. Gradually, our lifestyles become more expensive, so we have to work harder to earn more. We think that if only we get another raise in salary, then we would have enough. But in all likelihood, we end up just repeating the process by spending even more. Now, psychologists call this vicious cycle the hedonic treadmill, though we probably know it as a rat race. People on the hedonic treadmill think that they'd be happy if they just had little more money. But when they get more money, they discover something else that they want. Because they are never content with what they have, they can never have enough. Most people confuse the means with the end. They lack goals and an underlying value system to help guide their decisions. Living richly means figuring out what to spend your time, your money and energy on what and what to ignore. Since you can't have everything, you have to prioritize. This means spending money on things that matter to you and pay no attention on the things that don't. Friends, the bottom line is that if you can't be content, you will never lead a rich life, no matter how much money you have. Happiness, in my humble opinion, comes simply from doing what we enjoy, like, and love for as much time as possible. The key to money management and happiness is being satisfied.